Are you struggling to extract and update values from an HTML string in your Angular project? You're not alone. Today, we're diving into how to handle HTML strings in Angular 2 and make your component shine. I totally get it. Working with HTML strings can be tricky, especially when you're just starting out. Many developers face this challenge, and it can feel overwhelming. But don't worry, we will break it down together. Here's the specific question we're addressing. One user asked how to extract values from an HTML string that contains span elements with a data attribute. They want to know if it's possible to update these values dynamically in their Angular component. Sound familiar? Let's explore this together. So what's the deal with HTML strings in Angular? When you receive an HTML string, it can be challenging to manipulate it directly. However, Angular provides tools to help you extract and update values effectively. Let's break it down step by step. And stick around. I have a fantastic tip at the end that will make working with HTML strings in Angular a breeze. To extract and update values from the HTML string, the user will first need to parse the HTML. This can be done using the built-in Angular Renderer 2 service, which allows safe manipulation of the DOM. Next, the user should create a method to extract the value from the HTML string. This method will use the Renderer 2 to create a temporary element, set its inner HTML, and then retrieve the desired value. After extracting the value, the user can update it as needed. They can create another method that modifies the extracted value and then updates the original HTML string accordingly. Finally, the user can display the updated HTML string in their component. They can use Angular's binding syntax to ensure the changes are reflected in the view. Fun fact, did you know that the first web page ever created is still online? It was published by Tim Berners-Lee in 1991. Just think how far we've come since then. Now let's look at the answers provided by other users. An alternative solution suggests using the DOM sanitizer from the Angular Platform Browser module. First, import DOM sanitizer into your component. Then, inject it in your constructor. Finally, use the bypass security trust HTML method to safely handle your raw HTML content. That wraps up that answer. Let's move on to another one. An alternative approach suggested by a user is to define your display string variable as public in your component. This allows you to easily use it in your HTML. Now, let's dive into a different answer from another user. An alternative approach to extracting and updating values from an HTML string in Angular 2 involves using a regular expression or creating a temporary DOM element. You can create a div element, set its inner HTML to your HTML string, and then retrieve the inner text to update your display string. Let's take a look at another answer from another user. An alternative approach suggests using regular expressions to extract the value from the text element with the data card text attribute. You can save this extracted value in a variable called display string. That's all for that response. Let's see what someone else had to say. An alternative approach involves creating a wrapper component that takes the HTML string as an input. This component uses the ngOnChanges lifecycle hook to detect changes and update the displayed content accordingly. The user also mentions using standard document methods to manipulate the HTML. For example, they create a temporary div to extract and update specific values from the HTML string. Lastly, they advise adding style tags directly to the HTML string to ensure proper styling, as Angular styles may affect the inner HTML. Here's the tip I promised. Always sanitize your HTML strings before displaying them in your Angular application. This will help prevent security issues like XSS attacks. And there you have it. You now know how to extract and update values from HTML strings in Angular 2. Remember, practice makes perfect. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more tips and tricks.